Yo, Hegassen here, and today we are reviewing Spider-Man Far From Home. Now straight away off the bat, I'm going to say that this review is going to contain some spoilers, but if you haven't seen it yet, let me just very quickly give you a little bit of a brief over the overall how I feel about the film. Basically, if you like Spider-Man Homecoming, go see this film. If you like any of the Spider-Man stuff from the MCU, go see this film. If you really like Tom Holland as Spider-Man, go see this film. It's really good, I really enjoyed it. The action scenes in this film are really fun, they were of really good length, and there's some really interesting visuals and stuff going on in there. The characters, they are the stars of this film, naturally, but they really steal the show here. The interactions between a lot of them are great. Peter and Ned, Peter and MJ, really some of my favourite scenes in the film, Peter and MJ. And of course you've got Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. He is great, I can't talk too much about him without getting into spoilers. But there's some really interesting stuff going on with his character. So yes, definitely go see this film. Straight away, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to give this film a gold tier. That's how much I like it. Now pause it there and come on back when you've seen the film so we can talk some spoilers. But before that, let's swing on over. And why don't you give me a spectacular like and an amazing subscribe. That'll really make me tingle. Right. Spoilers, Far From Home spoilers. Them end credit scenes, man. Wow. But, as end credit scenes are, we're going to talk about them at the end. First of all, let's talk about the characters in this film. Straight away, let's talk about Peter Parker. Tom Holland has really cemented himself as my favourite Spider-Man. I thought he was kind of since Homecoming, but here he's really cemented it. I really liked all of his stuff in this film. I really like his arc that he goes through. I like how it's like a contrast to what it was in Homecoming. How in Homecoming he really wanted to be Iron Man. In this film, he has all of the opportunities to be Iron Man, but he just wants to be like Peter Parker, he just wants to be a regular kid, he wants to step it down for a bit. I really enjoyed seeing that kind of different journey that Peter was on in this film. And by the end of it, I was a little bit confused with like, okay, has he actually gone full on Iron Man, or is he kind of met a happy ground in the middle where he can be Peter Parker, he can be Spider-Man. We finally see him swinging through like the streets of New York and stuff in like classic Spider-Man style. So it makes me feel like he has kind of stepped it up a little bit and being a little bit more of like the Avengers hero, but at the same level still being that very neighbourhood Spider-Man and not being like the global kind of trot-in Tony Stark. Not really sure how that's going to place him going forward. Is he really going to be like the kind of tech guy of the Avengers and stuff, the science guy? We'll have to wait and see. But the way it ends this film off leaves Peter in a very interesting situation. Let's talk about his interactions with the other characters in this film. Like in Homecoming, Peter and Ned, they are great. They are like best friend goals. Really fun stuff. I really like Ned's little journey throughout this film where he goes on holiday, he gets in a relationship, and then by the end of it, they've broken up. That's really funny. All their little stuff is really nice. And I like how at the end he starts building up that little rivalry with MJ, and hopefully that's something that they will expand upon as well in later films. Let's talk about MJ as well. Zendaya is awesome as MJ. I really like her character portrayal in this film, and I really like her and Peter's interactions. They got like this kind of awkward teenage introvert kind of trying to tell each other that they like each other but they don't, you know, walking along trying to hold hands but then like kind of pulling it away at the last minute. That kind of like level of awkwardness. It was really sweet, and I was actually way more invested in their little character interactions than I thought I was. I thought going into it I'd be like, oh, I don't really care about that kind of stuff. But no, for me they're some of my favourite scenes. I don't know why, maybe it just reminds me of how shit I am at dating and how I'm basically like Peter in that situation. Only, you know, without the happy endings.
Hello darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
And at the end, MJ gets her own little bit of action as well. So really good MJ stuff, and just all three of them, Tom, Zendaya and Jacob, all really great as their characters of Peter, MJ and Ned. And if you've watched all of the interviews and stuff surrounding Spider-Man Far From Home, they've been amazing. The interviews and stuff on their own are almost as entertaining as the film itself. I really just like watching these guys hang out. They feel like best friends on the screen, they feel like best friends off the screen. The whole thing about this film is that Peter is going on a field trip. He wants to confess his love for MJ. And that is why he doesn't really want to do all of the Spider-Man stuff, because he just wants to be Peter Parker and enjoy himself on a field trip and spend some time with MJ and his friends. And this field trip is really the thing that kind of we follow along in the plot. At times though it does feel a little bit unrealistic, I will be honest, like all of the stuff that keeps happening to them, the field trip just keeps on going. None of the characters ever question, apart from really MJ, as to all of the weird stuff that's going on when Nick Fury hijacks the trip and they start getting upgrades out of nowhere. No one really questions it, but you know, it is a film. You got to kind of forgive it, that kind of film logic. It's not going to be like a realistic film. If it was, then it would just be all of them in their hotel rooms after that first attack, struggling to get a flight home and then going home and seeing their parents. The film will be over really quick. But what this does do, this field trip, is it lets us spend a little bit more time with the other kids. And I really like the two teachers in this. We've got the first teacher from the first film returning, then we've got a new teacher as well. Both of them are really fun, both really contrasting characters. They have some really great stuff. The humour in this film is excellent. Pretty much all of the jokes land. I don't think there's really any that don't land. I find them all really funny. We don't get to see as much of Flash Thompson as I would have liked, but he was good in this film. He should have cottoned on by now that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. I mean, I guess by the end he would know anyway, but he is really fun in this film. And I really felt bad for him at the end, where they come off of their holiday, they've been attacked in pretty much every country they've ever been to. They get to the airport and who's picking him up? It's his butler, and he's like, "Where's mum?" And then he's just like, "Oh." I actually feel really sorry for him. So hopefully in future films as well they get to expand on his character a little bit more.
St. Marco Polo.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio is great. I really liked him as a villain, and yes, I did say villain because he is a villain. I liked him in like the comic books and in the cartoons and stuff. I'm glad his costume looks, you know, pretty accurate, and he's got the fishbowl and everything. And I really like the way how they did all of these illusions and stuff, using all of the holograms and everything. That's some really good stuff, some really great visuals in there, and some really good action scenes. I really like that kind of fight where it's all like kind of creepy, and Mysterio has made like all of this stuff to kind of almost mentally torture Peter. Really good stuff in there. It's a little bit, again, unrealistic, the fact that, you know, he pretty much seems to have rendered this completely realistic looking thing where he's playing on Peter and stuff overnight. I mean, he's going to put the CGI business out of business with that level of technology. How did he design all that stuff so fast? But, you know, again, you got to take that film logic and forget about it. This is a film where loads of drones can fly down from space and make realistic holograms anyway. I like as we lead up to the twist where we find out that Mysterio was actually a member of Stark Tech, and that, you know, his ideas kind of got thrown to the side, and that kind of turned him into that kind of trope of angry businessman, but again with a little bit of a twist where he has always been kind of a little bit psychotic, and he's playing it a little bit more as like a kind of an actor. I like the fact that when he's not in the hologram, his suit is just like a mocap suit, and I also like how he's kind of directing everybody as if he was like a theatre actor or a director in himself, and he's very much doing it from that kind of theatrical perspective. And I like how before that twist, when he's talking to Peter, you kind of get the sense that he is kind of acting the stuff that he's saying it, the way that he's saying it. It does feel like a little bit cliche. I think this film is going to have some really good replay values, especially with some stuff about Nick Fury that we'll get to again when we get talking about the end credits scene. And yeah, Nick Fury in this film, he didn't really feel like Nick Fury, but there are very good reasons as to why he didn't feel like Nick Fury. So again, I'll get to that when we talk about the end credits. And of course, I've got to give a big shout out to Jon Favreau as Happy Hogan. He was great in this film as well. Felt a little bit sad for him at the end where he's building up this relationship with Aunt May. Then at the end, he's like, yeah, we're in a relationship. And she's like, summer fling. Feel a little bit bad for him. Come on, can't this guy get any love? He just had his best friend taken away from him and stuff. Give this guy a break.
Hello, darkness.
The connectivity with other films I feel was just the right amount. You know, I was worried going into this that there's going to be a lot of references about Iron Man. And, you know, there was stuff in there, but it wasn't so much in your face. I was a little bit worried that they might do, like, Iron Man, like, holographic projections and stuff. But no, you just kind of get his name in passing here. And there's a few other references here and there which are nice. Talking about Happy again, one of my favourite ones was when he picks up the shield and he throws it and it just barely goes a couple of meters and just falls on the floor, and he's like, how does Cap do this? I thought that was really funny. That was a really nice little reference, and that's the kind of level of references I like throughout this film. They actually reference the Thanos snap and what happened after the Thanos snap. They now call it the blip. And I really like them scenes and explanations, because at the end of Endgame we were all like, wait, how's this going to work? Like, half of his class, Peter's class, are now one age and half is the other. And we get all of that explanation straight away at the beginning. I really like that bit at the beginning where we see like the tributes to everybody who died. We've got like Vision and Black Widow there, Cap, even though he's technically not dead, but I guess the rest of the world thinks he's dead, and Iron Man. And then there's like that Getty Images text on it, and it's actually made really badly because it's made by like school kids and stuff. I really like that. At first I was like, what is this? Is this like a actual kind of Marvel doing a thing to say like, oh, we miss like RIP Tony Stark? But no, it was actually made by kids, and that was really funny. And I really liked all of the stuff talking about what actually happened when everybody came back. You know, Aunt May apparently just appeared in her apartment, and somebody else had already moved in there, and they thought that she was a ghost. And seeing all of the band people turn up in the gym where they were in the middle of a basketball game, so you just get hints of how much chaos it actually caused when everybody came back. The world seems like it has fixed itself pretty quickly, you know. When we saw New York in Endgame, it was all like abandoned, and there were boats everywhere, and everybody seemed really sad. It seems like the world recovered pretty quickly after the snap was reversed, after that 5-year gap. That's a little bit unrealistic. I did constantly wonder, because Mysterio's goal in this film is obviously to get the Stark tech, or to get like the login for the Stark tech, but he just uses it to make more drones and the same drones that he already had. I wondered why he never actually called upon any Iron Man suits that are still laying around and stuff like that. It would have been good to see it, maybe 1 or 2 little bits of that tech, but at the same time I didn't want Mysterio at the end just to be wearing an Iron Man suit. But at least a throwing question as to why he doesn't summon them, because I was constantly wondering, why doesn't he just call down a Hulkbuster to fight Spider-Man? One other thing I will say, a little bit out of context, is the fact that when they go to the Netherlands, they go so stereotypical Netherlands in this that it's almost a little bit cringe. Like, there's windmills in the background, they land in a field of tulips, everybody's wearing like orange. They go to this little village, and it's like little goats and like little people at market stalls, and everyone's so friendly. That is the most stereotypical, out of all of the countries, that is the most stereotypical one out of them all, and it felt a little bit out of place. It kind of felt like they didn't even go to the Netherlands to film it. That's just one other small criticism. But let's now talk about these end credits scenes, because wow, the end credits scenes on their own are gold tier. We get the first one where Spider-Man has been going around with MJ. I really like them scenes actually, where he's flying around with MJ and MJ's like holding on like, I don't want to look. Really nice, really well shot. It's a bit weird that he just kind of drops her off in the middle of the street, and no one's like, hey, who's that girl who's with Spider-Man? People could have obviously tell a little bit of working out who Spider-Man is if he keeps hanging out with MJ, but it doesn't matter anyway, because we get on the big screen, J. Jonah Jameson comes up on the screen, played by J.K. Simmons, again reprising his role, kind of. But not quite. Anyway, it's great that he is now confirmed in the MCU, and he comes up there, and Mysterio, in his dying moments, oh yeah, I should have mentioned, Mysterio died. Did he die? I don't know. He was a really good character. I don't want him to be dead. Marvel always kills off their good villains, but you know, he is the master of illusions, so yeah, he's death. Maybe there's a little bit more to it. You know, Spider-Man did try and confirm on the glasses what he did confirm. Is he dead? But I'm sure Mysterio could have still wiggled his way out of it somehow. Or at least I hope so. Anyway, in his dying moments, he sent out like a tricked message that made it look like Spider-Man was responsible for everything that happened, and killed Mysterio, who was playing himself up to be a hero throughout the entire film. And then right at the end, he reveals who Spider-Man is, that he's Peter Parker, and it ends with Spider-Man like, what? Brilliant. That was great. I already want tickets to the next film. Get me there now and put Venom in it. But if you thought that mid-credits scene wasn't enough, we get another one at the end, and unlike a lot of the MCU ones where you get to the end and it's not worth staying, this one definitely was, because this one as well is like a, whoa, hang on a second, replay that? Because we find out here that Nick Fury and Maria Hill were both Skrulls, and the Skrull being Talos and his wife. It's great to see Talos again, and when you actually rewatch the film, you'll notice that there's at least one scene that I picked up on. They're just like casually talking, and you hear them talking about Kree, and now when you find out that they're Skrulls, it's like, oh, okay. So I wonder how many other little hints there were throughout the film. So definitely this film has really high replay value. But yeah, Nick Fury and that, they were Skrulls. The big question is now, how long have they been Skrulls on Earth? We find out that Nick Fury's off on a Skrull spaceship, looks like well out into space, doing who knows what. And it also puts the question is Maria Hill a Skrull all along? Like, you don't see her at the end on the ship. So what about Maria Hill? Has she always been a Skrull? Or is something else happened to her? No idea. Again, more questions that I need answering right now. So again, whatever film that gets brought up in, I want tickets right there now. And put Venom in it. As I said, this is a gold tier film for me. Really good. Brought down a little bit by a couple of the things that you're just like, that doesn't make sense in the real world. But it's that movie logic, so you just kind of let it go. Characters are good, humour's good, the action set pieces are really good. The Peter MJ stuff is really good, the Peter Ned stuff is really good. Really enjoyed seeing Happy in this film. Mysterio is a great villain, and those end credit scenes were the cherry on top of the cake. Great stuff. If you haven't seen it, why have you just sat and watched all of my spoiler review? But go see it anyway, and if you have seen it, go see it again and see how much stuff you can pick up on about like the Nick Fury Skrull stuff and everything else. And put Venom in it. And Deadpool. Hey, so thanks for watching. What did you think? Let me know about it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed my video, maybe give it a like, and if you really liked it, why not subscribe? You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram and Twitch. Oh, and here's a related video you might enjoy, and something more fresh. I've been Hegassen, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!